We will never go back to the status quo. That was the stark declaration from European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. And in those few words, she captured what may be one of the most significant shifts in the post-Cold War global order. The end of a world where America wrote the rules and Europe followed them. What's happening now between the United States and the European Union isn't just another trade dispute. Honestly, it's not a simple spat over tariffs and countermeasures. This is the beginning of a profound reordering of the global digital economy and the ideological battle over who governs cyberspace, data, and transnational commerce in the 21st century. Earlier this week, President Trump announced a 90-day suspension of reciprocal tariffs on EU goods. A pause, not a surrender. The message was clear. The United States is ready to negotiate, but only on its own terms. And in the same breath, Trump confirmed the continuation of massive tariffs, 10% on all EU exports to the US, and 25% on automobiles, steel, and aluminum, the economic lifeblood of Germany, France, and Italy. To Trump, this is a tactical maneuver, but to Brussels, it's a gun to the temple. Europe, long used to multilateral forums and technocratic solutions, now finds itself facing a very different Washington, one where unilateralism, leverage, and escalation are the norm, and in this new game Europe is learning to strike back. Enter the countermeasure, a digital ad tax on American tech giants like Google, Meta, Apple, and Amazon. We are developing retaliatory measures, von der Leyen told the Financial Times. There's a wide range of countermeasures. One option is to put a levy on the advertising revenues of digital services. This is not just a tariff. It is a strategic strike against Silicon Valley's soft empire, the economic dominance the United States enjoys via its data monopolies, social networks, and digital ad ecosystems that stretch across every phone, laptop, and search bar in Europe. And the EU has the tools. The Digital Markets Act, which took effect in 2023, gives Brussels sweeping powers to regulate so-called gatekeepers, dominant platforms with massive influence over online behavior. Violations can carry fines of up to 10% of a firm's global turnover, and the first wave of enforcement is already underway. Apple, Google, Meta, all in the crosshairs. Reports suggest Meta could face fines of over $1 billion, with other companies likely to be hit in the coming weeks. The European Commission is moving unilaterally, insisting that tech fines and trade talks are, well, two completely separate processes. What's truly at stake here isn't just billions in fines or retaliatory taxes, it's the question of sovereignty in the digital age. For years, Europe has been the consumer, not the owner, of digital infrastructure. American firms built the platforms, American intelligence tapped the cables, and American capital harvested the data. Even today, 6 of the 7 firms targeted by the DMA are American. Europe is saying no more. The EU's move is an assertion of digital independence, and it comes amid growing demands from citizens and lawmakers to reclaim control over data, algorithms, privacy, and platform power. In many ways, this is Europe's attempt to build a digital third way, one that doesn't simply mimic China's authoritarian internet or America's surveillance capitalism, but carves out a regulated, rights-based model of digital governance. Von der Leyen is also prepared to activate an unprecedented legal weapon, the anti-coercion instrument, the EU's legal equivalent of a trade war scalpel. Modeled loosely on the 1974 U.S. Trade Act, the ACI allows the EU to retaliate against economic bullying from foreign powers, including tariff impositions, sanctions, or coercive restrictions. The ACI has never been used before. To invoke it would require a vote from all 27 EU members and would likely deepen the standoff with Washington. But the very fact that it's on the table shows how serious this confrontation has become. This isn't just about protecting European Union firms, it's about defending a vision of global trade that isn't dictated by unilateral decrees from the White House. Internally, the European Union faces a test of its own. While France and Germany support a hardline stance, some eastern and southern member states, heavily reliant on United States trade and defense support, are reluctant to escalate. The EU must now navigate its own contradictions, balancing short-term unity with long-term strategic autonomy. But von der Leyen is betting that Trump's aggression may, ironically, serve as the unifying force the European Union has long lacked, pushing Europe to invest in its own digital infrastructure, strengthen its internal markets, and assert itself as a geopolitical actor rather than a passive economic zone. President Trump has made it clear any further targeting of U.S. tech will be met with, well, severe retaliation. So, what could that actually look like? More tariffs, possibly on European pharmaceuticals, agriculture, or even aerospace. Tech sanctions, maybe restricting European apps or data services in the US, could be one option. Then there are the currency manipulation accusations, aimed at pressuring the European Central Bank, or perhaps even threatening to pull back military commitments to NATO, something Trump has, hinted at quite a few times before. This is not idle speculation. In a world where rules are giving way to raw power, Trump's policy is, well, pretty straightforward: leverage everything, compromise on nothing. Zooming out for a moment, this confrontation is just one front in a much wider global shift. China is watching closely, probably cheering the West's infighting as it courts the global South and the EU with its multipolarity rhetoric. Meanwhile, India is stepping forward as a swing power, collaborating with both sides while at the same time building its own digital empire. Tech is, without a doubt, becoming the new oil, the commodity that drives foreign policy, sanctions, alliances, and even war. The EU-US standoff may, in the end, define what kind of globalization survives the 2020s, one ruled by national interest and algorithmic dominance, or one rebuilt around sovereignty, regulation, and multipolar cooperation. One thing is absolutely clear: this is no longer about steel or cars. This is about who gets to define the rules of the digital world, and well, whether democracy can still do it.